Got a very special guest to bring on today. A Juventus fan, Just Juve. He goes by the name of Giuseppe. A very knowledgeable Juventus fan. I believe he does the Juventus Twitch as well, the official Juventus Twitch. Let's get him on and see his views on the business that our two clubs are doing together. Let's bring him on. Giuseppe, how are we doing today?
Hi guys, thank you for the invite. I'm super well, actually. Really excited because a lot is happening for our both club, for Juventus and Tottenham. So thank you for the invite. Thank you.
No, thank you for coming on. It's a pleasure and an honor to have you on right now. Our clubs are doing a lot of business. I mean, first of all, let's start off when Paratici joined Spurs. I mean, I had a bit of an inkling that Spurs and Juventus might be doing a bit of business once he did come through the door. First of all, what are your opinions on Paratici? Because I've heard a lot of raving reviews from Juventus fans on him.
Well, I already spoke about Paratici. I was a big fan of Fabio because I believe that he stayed 11 years at the club, and in these 11 years, Juventus won 9 times the title, even more cups if we add all the other ones. So he did something good. People that are saying he did not do great thing at Juventus, they are a bit delusional, I believe, because he did amazing things. If you look at his top 10, but even top 15 players that he brought in, I think he did really well. We know the names already, but Pogba for free, Vidal that was unknown at the time. He brought in a lot of players, and then he take you a Cristiano Ronaldo with the benefits and the consequences of having Cristiano Ronaldo, of course. But you can't doubt the abilities of Fabio Paratici to be an amazing scout and a person that knows and understands football and is living 24/7 football. So big up for that. Does that mean that Fabio Paratici has always been perfect? No, because he also did his mistakes, of course. I think a turning point in the career of Fabio Paratici at Juventus was at the moment where he did a perfect duo with Beppe Marotta that is now at Inter, because Paratici was scouting, was doing the first contacts, was really speaking about football with understanding how the players could fit into the teams. And then you had a Marotta that was looking at the financial side. Was it okay? Was it not? And they gave the approval or not. From the moment that Marotta left, he was alone, and I believe that from that moment it was a difficult job for him to combine all the aspects as a man alone. Also being in front of cameras was something that was not really his big skill, so he had to take everything at once. And if 1 year later you have a pandemic that nobody could predict, it makes the job really difficult. And that's where, according to me, he did some mistakes that Juventus is still actually paying now, like signing for free some players like Ramsey and Rabiot that are unfortunately not doing great at Juventus. But other than that, I can speak only great things about Fabio Paratici, and I think he's doing really, he will do a great job also at Tottenham.
Okay, amazing. Obviously, right now in this transfer window, it's gonna be bonkers late in the window, as we've seen. You know, Juventus making some big moves in Vlahovic, and with that happening, it looks like they need to free up some funds. And with looks like Paratici might be doing his old club a big favour in that aspect. Let's talk about these two potential deals. Then let's start with Dejan Kulusevski.
Well, it's potential until the clubs are officially saying and putting on side that the two are have been signed or sold to Tottenham. It's still a potential. But if we look at Fabrizio Romano and also all the Juventus reporters and expert of Mercato, looks like it will be a matter of hours. So we can already think about these two players being Tottenham players. One thing that before starting speaking about the players, I want to say that maybe you have to thank me because you have here
the Bentancur shirt.
Hey, pay attention, because then you have Kulusevski here. So,
brilliant.
Guys, at a certain moment, you have to say thank you to me, because it's my third shirt curse. When I buy third shirt players, then they go in another team. So,
thank you, Giuseppe.
Do you want to buy a third shirt with Dybala? Would we could do us a favor?
No. I have, but I put it on the home shirt most of the time.
Of course, he did.
I'm sorry, guys, but Now, if we speak about the players, you wanted to go through Kulusevski first or
Yeah, let's
Bentancur?
go. Let's go talk about Dejan first. I want to
Yeah.
know your thoughts on why it hasn't worked at Juventus. For the 2 years he's been there, what type of player we're getting, and how you think he'll fare at Tottenham. So let's talk about his time at Juventus first. Obviously, he signed just on the back of winning Young Player of the Year at Parma after a very good season. I think he signed under Andrea Pirlo. He was the manager first there. Which seems saw quite a lot of game time last season, but this season hasn't quite seen the same amount. What's happened there for you?
Well, first of all, I have to say that if I buy a shirt, it means that I believe in the players. I'm hyped about the player. So I believe that, and I'm sure about it, Dejan Kulusevski is a real potential, a player that can really do well in Premier League, maybe even better than in a big club in Italy, because you saw it when he was doing well at Parma. He was, of course, from Atalanta, but on loan at Parma, and he did amazingly well, scoring, if I'm not wrong, 10 goals and also 10 assists for his first season. He was really a special kid, and we bought him, and that's one of the consequences of having Kulusevski. We bought him actually with the idea in mind that it was a Sarri player, for Maurizio Sarri, not for Andrea Pirlo at the time. We gave him and we left him at Parma on loan for the rest of the season, where he continued to do well. He arrived at Juve, other coach with other ideas. We stopped playing that 4-3-3 that was really a characteristic of Maurizio Sarri. So you have a player that is a bit lost because he doesn't know what we expect from him. In one of his first interviews, he's speaking about his favorite role, that is actually at number 10 behind the striker, what is in contradiction with what he was playing at Parma, because at Parma he was really playing that 4-3-3 with Gervinho on the left and him on the right side of the field. He arrived at Juve, and it was really an unlucky season for Juventus last year, also because we had so many injuries. COVID kicked in. You had always actually a problem in our offensive line, with Morata out for a certain moment, with Ronaldo out, where we have asked him to play a lot of time out of position. He never really played that number 10 role that he wanted, even if Dybala was injured, but he also never played that 4-3-3 why we bought him for. And playing at Juventus, you don't have the same spaces that you have at Parma, where you really have a lot of field where you can run and use your pace, use your technique, because he's a player that goes stronger according to the meters that he's running. So he has the ball in the middle of the field and he has some field to run. He's going really, really great. Unfortunately, you don't have that at Juventus, where you are a lot of time blocked by the team that are playing defensively, parking actually the bus. And that has caused a lot of problems for Kulusevski with Andrea Pirlo. Nevertheless, if you look at his 74 games with Juve, he still scored 9 goals with Juventus. Had a really great start with Pirlo, finished really well, was a bit lost in the middle of the season, but I believe it was also consequence of a Juventus that was not performing that well last year. He started with a new coach like Allegri this season, and Allegri is speaking really well about him in pre-season, saying he's expecting a lot from Dejan Kulusevski, because he's really a talent with a lot of skills. He played a lot of games this season, I believe 27 or something like that, but never started. He's a sub. He was a sub that we wanted to find his position. But more the games were going, more I saw a Dejan Kulusevski that was looking on the ground. When he was playing, he looked a bit sad. He looked depressed. And I believe that is a player that he was receiving too many tactical orders, first with Pirlo and then with Allegri, where he didn't know actually how to take his initiatives anymore, and lost that magic, when you know that you have your game and you are doing well. And you see it also with Sweden now, when he's playing with Sweden, where he started really well. He's in transition between becoming a tactical player, what he was becoming, and continuing that free player that did really well. I believe that one, because I was looking also what are his weaknesses. I believe that his weakness can be mental. He should be loved by supporters. He's young, so he needs a bit of time. People need to believe in him, and I'm sure he can do great.
Interesting. I mean, What's the feeling within the Juventus fan base right now on Kulusevski? I mean, are they happy to see the back of him? Are they thinking, maybe we've let him go a bit too early? What's the feeling within the fan base right now?
You have a division between people that are happy that he's leaving, also because we know the results of Juventus are not that great at the moment. So they were waiting for a renewal, and whoever would leave Juventus, I believe that supporters would be happy because we are expecting something more, a boost. On the other hand, you have the real division between people who are saying, we will have the same story as Thierry Henry that left really early and became really great with Arsenal, or a Kingsley Coman that left to Bayern Munich without really having a chance because they were young talents, also kind of wing players, offensive wing players that actually after leaving Juventus did really great. And then you have the people that are really happy. So it's a real division. I'm sad. I'm really sad if it happens that he's officially leaving. I will be really sad because it's a player that I believe has a lot of potential. Could we have waited a bit more? I don't know. Because on the other hand, we have these under 23, the young academy players that are waiting, and most of them are playing in the kind of same position. It's a player that loves to play a bit more on the right side of the field and cut the field to enter to find his left foot. We have Dybala that is playing that position kind of, and when they were playing simultaneously, they were stepping on their feet, both of them. I don't know if at Tottenham you have a player that loves to go from the right in the center, but that could potentially be a problem. But also our young academy players, we have a Marleake, we have Matthias Soulé, young talent prospects that are playing that kind of position. So Juventus is covered, and I'm always saying that that's my feeling. I prefer to see a player becoming a phenomenal, happy somewhere else in another club than staying at the club and being sad. That's my philosophy.
In terms of how Tottenham like to play, obviously famously under Antonio Conte, he likes to play with three at the back, and he likes to play either 3-4-3 with three forward players or a 3-5-2 with maybe two strikers. I've seen him very, very occasionally play in a central striker role for Juventus, maybe in a two up top. But with the striking options we have at the moment, with Lucas Moura, Heung-min Son in the wide areas, do you think he's first of all going to get a start ahead of someone like Lucas Moura straight away? Do you see him breaking in straight away? And if we do play with the two up top, do you reckon he could be an option there in the central role?
I don't believe it's a player for a 3-5-2 playing as a right winger. It doesn't have the leg to do all the field. I don't believe that. Then I can be wrong, because you know that with Antonio Conte, he's able to transform anyone. In a 3-5-2, playing in a two-man up front, he did it last season a lot of time, and he scored some goals. So he has the abilities to do it. I don't see him as a real striker. I would love to see him in the 3-4-3, because I was looking a bit at the tactics that you were using at Tottenham. 3-4-3 offensively on the right, I think that can be his best position.
Okay, brilliant.
Okay, so that's player number one. Player number two, Rodrigo Bentancur. Obviously, he's been a mainstay in the Juventus side for a number of years now. Was quite central to you when you last won the league a couple of years back now. What can you tell me about him? What are his strengths? What are his flaws? Do you rate him as a player?
I like Bentancur as well. I had big hopes for him. I have to admit that I was a bit disappointed last season for him. I will come back to that. But I had a lot of big hopes for him because the kid has talent. But also his main weakness is maybe the grinta that is missing, that grit, being that leader. If you are looking for a leader, he's not a leader. If you are looking for someone that is scoring, is not a goal scorer. If you're looking for someone that is taking the shots from the distance, he's not, even if he has the potential to do it, because he has a really beautiful shot from the distance. He has power. He can be really precise, but he's not using him a lot. And I believe that is a lot of conviction, is understanding that he can be a real great player. He did some great games at Juventus. He started as a bench player, young player coming from Boca Juniors to Juventus, without a lot of ambition. Maybe it's the ambition that is missing. That's the word I was looking for. But a player that was there on the bench, he did enter the games, and he was doing well also with Allegri. Allegri rated him a lot. his best season was with Maurizio Sarri, where Sarri believed a lot on him and chose him over a Pjanic. Why? Because Pjanic was out of project with Maurizio Sarri. So he gave him a chance, and he knew that he was the undiscussed starter. He played as a number 6. So if we play a 4-3-3, as the middle central midfielder, the one that was actually working and starting, being the tempo setter, the one that sets the tempo of the team. Pirlo, when he came, he said that's not a player that is able to play there, because he was looking for someone with brains. And Bentancur is a player that he has not potentially the brains to dictate the game. He's great to regulate the tempo, but not to have actually to start the game. It's not a Pirlo from Juve at the time, even if it's really hard to be a Pirlo, of course, but it's not that type of player. In Italy, they really see him, Pirlo and Allegri, as a mezzala, so the box-to-box player, and he can really give a lot of himself from the moment that he knows that he can play his game. If he has to pay attention to the one next to him on the left or on the right, whatever, he starts to be a bit confused. So if you are protecting him and you give him some really clear tasks, then he can be phenomenal, because it's a player that can run for 90 minutes. He can give a high pressure. He can be on the ball. He has also a vertical game. And that's beautiful if you're, especially in Premier League, where you love to go vertical instead of horizontal and calming down the game. He really knows how to play in one touch, really vertically. You just have to pay attention not to play vertical in the other side of the field, because that can cause some problems. He missed sometimes some concentration moments, and that can be sometimes dangerous. That happened at Juventus, where some fans started to criticize him because of lack of concentrations. But he's 24, 25. He has the potential, and for the price, that if the price and that our reporter are correct, I think that you are doing a beautiful deal with Rodrigo.
Yeah, so that's really good to hear. But in terms of the midfield options Tottenham have at the moment, you know, like Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, Harry Winks, Oliver Skipp, he does seem very similar to those kind of players in terms of his attributes and what he's good at and what he's not good at. So do you expect him to be very much a player Conte could easily bring into his midfield and he could rely on to just easily slot in there? And do you think he's an upgrade on what we currently have?
I believe that the first meeting between Conte, Kulusevski, and and Bentancur will be really important, because that's where he will try to touch their heart, and touch also to enter and try to enter their brains, to say, guys, you have the potential. I believe in you guys. Now you will have to repay the trust. Also Paratici, that knew them really well because he was with there. He brought them also to the club. I think that the first one-to-one meetings that they will have will make the difference, and I'm expecting them to play really fast as a starter in the team. Will they be able to keep it, that role? I can't tell you today. But the trust will be really high from Conte to them immediately, except if Conte judge that they are not ready mentally, and that you will have to wait a bit of time so that he can enter their brain. I think the important thing will be also the support, the trust, and the love of the supporters of Tottenham, because I was also seeing that. I'm not a Tottenham expert, of course, but watching a bit online, you also have a clear division between some that are really, really happy that both are joining, and then you have another one that are not believing in, saying that Paratici is doing favors to Juve. What I personally don't believe, because at the end, when you have these kind of roles, business is business, even if you can have a lot of affinity, of course.
It's interesting to see the kind of reaction from the Juventus fan base in terms of Bentancur, because I've seen a lot more kind of positive attitude towards Kulusevski than I have seen towards Bentancur. And I mean, is it the same feeling? Do you think it's a bit similar? It's split 50-50, or do you think more people would like to see the back of Rodrigo?
No, you have more people that are happy that Bentancur is leaving than Kulusevski. In Kulusevski, you have the benefit of the doubts, and you have also these kind of sparkles of, we saw some things that Kulusevski really could do in 18 months, because he's not there since long, while Bentancur is there since 5 years. We know the player really well, and unfortunately, what I was telling you earlier, where I was a bit more disappointed, it was last year where we really needed a bit of leadership in the midfield because Pjanic left, because you were in a rebuilding phase, because you were not doing that great. I was expecting, and a lot were expecting him to take a bit the Juventinità, because he was there since 4 years. He knew the club really well. He was one of the older ones in that midfield, even if he was young, but in terms of ancienity, and that he could bring something to the new players, and he didn't brought it. Also, we remember these big mistakes he did versus Porto, giving these kind of back passes and causing us an elimination of Champions League quite early. So you have a bigger percentage of Juve fans that are happy that he's leaving. I'm sad, to be honest, because I like the guy.
Okay, so overall, with these two potential transfers, if they do come to fruition and they do happen, do you think Tottenham fans should be excited with what they're getting?
Yes, I think yes, because you have Antonio Conte that won, of course, in Premier League already, so he knows Premier League. But having people that understand another football like Serie A, and I'm not absolutely not comparing the two leagues, but they understand Serie A. They understand also maybe a bit faster what the coach is asking from them because they have this kind of affinity. So I think that you can be excited of the two players now. And I was listening before jumping up. They are not the best players in the world. They are not like I don't know if you buy some players like Lewandowski in terms of name, or Holland, or these kind of players.
We like to say Harry Kane
in the midfield. Okay, so of course it's not. They are not the players that on FIFA Foot has a 93 rating.
Yeah,
but they are young players with unexpressed potential that I believe, and especially Kulusevski, that he can do really great in Premier League. If Bentancur wakes up a bit, he can be a beautiful midfielder also in your team, a beautiful addition.
Well, let's hope Antonio Conte has the tools to unlock it in Bentancur, that's for sure, and I'm sure he does. But Giuseppe, thank you so much for coming on. The insight you've given us has been unbelievable, and a lot of the viewers, I'm sure, will very much appreciate it. But before we let you go, do you want to let people know where they can find you?
Yeah, and before that, guys, I just want to do a prediction. Bentancur, he will score from outside of the box in the first 5 games he's playing with you.
Wow.
Okay.
Quite a prediction.
Love that.
Write it down. Write it down. If it happens, contact me.
We'll clip it up.
What
Don't
about
you worry.
Kulusevski? Any Kulusevski predictions?
I didn't woke up. This morning I didn't feel the prediction yet. But
okay.
Bentancur, watch it.
Okay, we're watching the space. But where can people find you?
If people, they want to find me, I'm a bit everywhere on social media, but you can, I think you can see it here below, Just Juve. You can find me on YouTube, where I'm really active with all the news in English every single morning with the papers review. Then I'm doing a lot of lives, of course. So you can find me there. It's the same tag on all the social media, Instagram, Twitter, and so on and so on. If people are really interested in Juve, I'm also the official host of Twitch from the Juve channel, and that's Twitch Juventus, of course. But if you want to, on YouTube, come say hello and help me to grow as well. And guys, you are doing a fantastic job, really professional, really great, and it's beautiful to see also some people from other teams that are doing great jobs, and that we can communicate between supporters for the love of football. That's really amazing.
Thank you so much. Really kind words there.
Just quickly, I see people in the comments are saying Grand Beppe. So that's clearly what you've been called, the Grand Beppe. There are a lot of people calling you that. That's a great name, I have to say that. Going to start calling you that from now on. But brilliant. Really great to meet you. And thanks for coming on, man.
Ciao, guys.
See you later.
Cheers.
Thank you.